Now, these aren't the kinds of videos that I started this channel to make. It's not something that I enjoy, and it's not something I'm particularly passionate about, but I felt that it was necessary. Now, as you guys know, anything related to Twitter is a cesspool of toxicity and awfulness. That being said, I do partake in such practices on Twitter just because it's funny. I mean, it's not really to be taken seriously per se, especially not in instances where it's really just fans bickering over whatever series they like the most. And of course, on my Twitter, I have a lot of Assassin's Creed stuff. That's what I talk about. I cover it a lot, along with the other games that I cover as well. And I got recommended a list from somebody, and they were ranking the Assassin's Creed games, and I just thought it was hilarious. And it's not just things like Odyssey at number 1. Obviously, you guys know how I feel about that game. It's got the narrative quality of a Curious George book, while also having a free-to-play grind fest for its gameplay and progression style. Not a big fan, but there are redeeming qualities of it that I can understand why people enjoy that game. It's totally fine. Enjoy what you enjoy. It's not just that. There's just so much else wrong with this list. And, this guy's... I've never met him before. I don't follow him. It just seems like a very trolly thing. In the same way that the title and thumbnail of this video is designed to evoke a reaction, so is this tweet. I do this often. He seems like he does it often as well. I don't know much about him. Maybe he is a troll. Maybe he genuinely feels this way. I'm not sure. But just assuming, maybe wrongly, I don't know. Just assuming that he was a troll, I replied in a trolly manner. And I just thought it was funny. No harm, no foul. I'm not personally attacking him. I'm not calling him a moron or anything. I'm just saying, Dad, looks like based off this list, you just don't like Assassin's Creed. I mean, he's got Brotherhood and Assassin's Creed 1 just off the list. It's funny. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. But of course, as some people do, they take things to heart, and it ignited a powder keg. All kinds of people were tweeting about it. Me and the video game historian got called malakas by somebody in an unironic manner, which I thought was hilarious. And things were going back and forth, but for the most part, it stayed not personal. I don't want to say cordial. It definitely was not. It was toxic. There was a lot of playing the victim. There was a lot of condescension. There was a lot of sarcasm. There's a lot of things going on that were very toxic. I was a part of that. I'm guilty as well. Everyone that was really involved is guilty of it. It is what it is. But one thing stuck out to me. I got a tweet in reply to something where I was just basically saying, this list is so ridiculous that I just assumed it was a troll, so I trolled back. And of course, our boy here goes straight into victim mode, which is absolute peak elite trolling. Like, if you have experience with trolls, this is a thing. And I guess it evoked a reaction from somebody because apparently I'm a terrible human being unable to engage in empathy. And I thought it was hilarious. This seems like an insane reaction to the conversation that was being had. In all honesty, it was just toxic passion between fans of a series. Like, we all love these games, some more than others, but this was a bit of an overreaction in my opinion. And it stuck out to me because this was really the one real personal kind of attack. And I was, kind of struck by it. I was like, I'm going to quote tweet it. I'll troll back and say, oh yeah, you can definitely tell I'm a terrible human being from talking about my opinion on someone else's opinion, which, in the same way that you can comment and give your opinions on my videos, the same thing applies on Twitter or any social media. If you put out a tweet, put out a Reddit post, if you put out a Facebook post, Instagram post, people are subject to react to it. So if you give your opinion in a post, people can react with their opinions. It's totally fine if they disagree with you. I mean, evidently not here, according to some of the tweets that I got, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about this tweet real quick. And so it struck me, it was unique amongst the cesspool of toxicity. And so, out of my curiosity, I clicked on the profile. Turns out this guy is the senior scriptwriter for the Ubisoft Connect app. Can you imagine my surprise? Not really. If you don't understand the sarcasm, well, Ubisoft has some pretty insane allegations over the past year regarding some of their employees' conduct towards not only other employees, but also fans. Now, in no way am I putting myself on the level of some of the horrible things that those people experienced from Ubisoft and their employees, whether it was other employees or just the fans who fell victim to some of their employees. I'm not on that level. I just simply got a tweet. That's all it is. But I think what this tweet says is a lot more than what it is at face value, is I guess what I'm trying to say. It's not the individual tweet itself that is so bad. It's really not. I think it's hilarious, in all honesty. And I think it says more about the people who, I don't want to say leapt to my defense, but the people who are like, kind of like, dude, this is a bit of an overreaction. Like, you don't even know this guy. Like, it says a lot more about the relationships that I've developed with other people that I've interacted with. And they know me a lot more so than this guy does, who I've never seen or met before online. That says a lot more about me. But what this says about Ubisoft is everything they said about, oh, we're working on changing the culture, we're working on fixing things, you know, these issues, they're not going to happen again. Well, apparently that's not true. You might be like, Jaws, how can you take that from a single tweet? Well, if he's comfortable enough with his job description in his Twitter description to make a tweet like this in regards to a fan who essentially gives your company free marketing, has put a lot of time, energy, and money into your products, if you're so willing and comfortable to treat a fan that way, despite how toxic the conversation might have been, that says a lot about the culture. A lot. That's really my one main interaction with someone from Ubisoft. I mean, I've had tweets liked and stuff by other developers, and really anything like when I've interacted with someone like Darby or Raphael Lacoste, it's been pretty cordial, but we don't really interact too much. And it was just so weird that this is my main interaction. This is my first impression in dealing with Ubisoft. That says a lot, because I've had a lot of interactions with other developers. The guys at DICE are amazing. Even when we've had disagreements, it's always been supremely professional and cordial in a ton of ways. I mean, some of the stuff that I saw some of the community managers go through during Battlefield 5's life cycle was horrid, and they handled it in the most professional manner possible, and I commend them greatly for keeping cool heads when most people would not have. But dude, we're expressing opinions on the games, and we have conflicting opinions, and yeah, it was a little toxic, but there was no threats going around, there was no personal attacks going around, and this is how you respond? Like, that says so much about you and the company. I don't even have to really go into it. I mean, you guys just all on your own can see like what this says. So the fact that they put a tattoo for the sisterhood, which I fully support the sisterhood, by the way, if you couldn't tell already, I've mentioned it in other videos before. The tattoo in the Valhalla, totally empty gesture. Everything they said, kind of like most big companies, it doesn't mean anything. As long as they're collecting your money, it's all good. They can just put out a couple of nice things and then it'll all blow over. And clearly that's what Ubisoft thinks. So, I mean, it is what it is. As for covering Ubisoft games going forward, I don't know. I mean, I think it would be a bit of an overreaction on my part to just say, nah, we'll nix all Ubisoft games because a guy tweeted me in a mean way. No, I still enjoy these games despite the flaws that they have. Now, if those flaws keep up due to things separate from this interaction and things don't get better, then yeah, I may not follow these series as much anymore. But again, I cover a lot of other games as well, so it's really not a huge deal in that aspect. I would like to have more formal interactions with people who represent the company in a better manner. In my opinion, in my experiences with other developers, when situations like this are happening and there is toxic stuff going on like Twitter or something, just conversations that aren't great, either they won't interact and they'll just let it happen. It is what it is. They don't have to interact. Or they'll step in and try to offer like a mediation. Like, hey, I mean, these guys have opinions. You guys just don't agree. It is what it is. They'll try to mediate things. That's every experience I've had so far. This is a first. Dude, like, you represent your company. You have the company name in the description of your profile, and you're that comfortable being able to say things. And it's actually hilarious because I dug back into some of his old tweets and he's talking about how culture changes are coming and all this stuff, and I'm just like, no, they're not. I mean, if you're so comfortable to tweet personal attacks to your fans, what is going on elsewhere? I mean, the old saying, where you see one roach, there's 100 more behind the walls. That applies here. And if that's not the case, I have reason to be suspicious of such things. So it is what it is. Again, I doubt you guys enjoyed this video that much, but anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you've made it this far, yeah. I'll see you guys in the next video.